Welcome back to Chicks and Tips for this week. We are MD Outdoors. I'm Emma. Usually I have Emily here, but she is away sick this morning, poor girl, so let's hope she gets better soon. But today I thought I'd do more of a personal one for me. I want to talk to you about how to get started in mountain biking. So if you're not in the mountain biking scene at all, you probably don't know that Nelson is one of the best places in the world, not only New Zealand, to mountain bike. The trails here are amazing. There's so many different networks and it's a really fun hobby to get into, particularly for the summer. So here are my top tips for getting started. I'm going to break it down into gear, trails to do, and some tips for technique if you haven't mountain biked before. So first up, obviously you're going to need a bike, and bikes are expensive. So if you can borrow one from a friend or family member to find out if you like it, like the hobby, first of all, do that. Making sure it's preferably got dual suspension, so suspension at the front and the back of the bike, and has a dropper post. So that's a seat that moves up and down, makes your life so much easier when you're out on the trails. And then if you do like the sport and you want to get into it, you can think about getting a second-hand bike or investing in a new one. And we're lucky enough to have a few really good mountain bike shops in Nelson, so you can just go ask the staff there for some help if you have no clue, and they would love to help you. Next up, gear. There's heaps of gear out there that you could get if you wanted to be have all the kit and know exactly what's going on. But for basics, obviously you're going to need a helmet, good quality helmet, not secondhand. Don't get a secondhand helmet because you never know what's happened to it. Just invest in a new one. You're definitely going to want to grab some knee pads. These are crucial. Trust me. Your first stack and you'll be like, thank God I invested in some knee pads. And then last of all, set of gloves as well. And with your safety gear that you wear, it's always a case of, oh, do I need that today? And then you don't wear it, and then that's the time you crash. So always make sure you're wearing your safety gear. And then I guess last up, take a backpack with you. I've been doing this recently besides just a bum bag, backpack, either one. And in there you can store like your phone, your keys, take snacks with you, take heaps of water, maybe even chuck in your first aid kit that you take with you hiking and on other trips, and just have everything in one spot. And then you can chuck your extra layer in there, like your overshirt or your rain jacket. Just makes life so much easier. And then think about your mountain biking experience when you're going out as more of like a slow and steady kind of journey. You're not just going out there and like slamming it in an hour. You're probably going to want to have those electrolytes, those snacks to help keep you going, because you'll find out pretty quick all the climbs around Nelson are pretty steep and long. I found out the hard way. So just make sure you've got some extra fuel with you ready to go, and that'll help you like boost up those climbs. So that is it for equipment and gear and stuff. In terms of trails around Nelson, you've got quite a few around that are really close by. You can ride to them from town. I ride at Codgers quite a bit, but if I was just starting out mountain biking, I'd probably go somewhere like Kaiteriterri Mountain Bike Park up north. It is a bit more of a journey, but I think the trails are far more gentle. The climbs aren't as steep, and it will just be a way more enjoyable experience. I remember the first time I arrived in Nelson, I got taken up Codgers, and I was like, man, I'm dying on this climb. Got to the top, and I was like, okay, thank God we're done. And then I realized later it was only a third of the way up, and I was like, oh my goodness. So go to Kaiteriterri first, check out the trails. The forest out there is super beautiful, and then you can pretty much do any green trail out there to start. And then while I'm mentioning that, there's a few different gradings for the trails. So in Nelson, you basically have grade 3 green, grade 4 blue, grade 5 black, and it goes up like that. There's not really any grade 1s or 2s in Nelson. They don't exist, besides I guess like the cycle trail. They get stuck into it pretty quick. So any sort of grade 3 green at Kaiteriterri, you'll be totally fine. And stay away from the blues and the blacks for now. And then if you're wanting to go up Codgers, some trails I'd recommend to start would be P51, IV Line, and Gully. And if you're not sure where these are, download the Trail Forks app before you go, and then that has all the trail networks, shows you exactly where you are with a GPS location. Even better yet, take someone with you that knows exactly where they're going, and they can give you some tips for the trails coming up as well. Cable Bay Adventure Park is also a really great place to ride, and if you're heading out there for the first time, I'd check out Happy Days, Stinger, and maybe Jungle Boxer. It's right at the top of the climb, so it might be a bit tricky to get up there for your first go, but riding out there on a beautiful bluebird day, there's nothing like it. Cable Bay is amazing. And then I haven't ridden much at Sylvan, so if you are a Sylvan connoisseur, pop it down in the comments. What are your favorite trails? What do you love to ride? And I'll go and check them out. And then last up, technique, which is kind of the crucial one. If you can go with someone that does know how to mountain bike and can give you some tips and look at like your technique as you're riding, even better. If you can get a coaching session like once or twice, it'll make the world of difference, and it'll take you from here to here in no time at all. But if you are just going out on your own or with some other friends that are noobs as well, my biggest tips are when you're going downhill, your dropper seat is down, you're standing up on your pedals, and your pedals are level. So you're always standing up when you're going downhill, and that's so that the bike can move underneath you and you can absorb the impact, and you're not going to get bucked off and thrown into the bushes. Next up, braking. You always want pointer fingers on your brakes, covering your brakes at all times, and that's so that if you get into trouble and you start going off course or going downhill, you don't get the death grip on the bars where you're squeezing your fists, and you can still brake really easily. And then this is kind of crucial for mountain biking, but also lots of other sports. Look where you want to go, not where you don't want to go. So if you're going along and you see this huge rock in the way, or you see a tree, do not look at the rock, do not look at the tree, because that's exactly where you'll go. Make sure you're looking up, you're looking ahead, and you're looking where you want to go. And that counts for going around corners as well. So instead of looking down at your front tire, look around your corner, and then your bike will follow you. That's taken me a while to learn. And then my last tip for technique is let the bike move underneath you. So let it rock forwards and back, side to side, absorb the impact with your elbows, with your knees, and just let the bike do its thing. They're pretty beefy these days. The tires are crazy. They will roll over anything as long as you trust your bike. So yeah, that about wraps it up. If you've got any extra tips for beginners, chuck them in the comments below so they can have a read. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Friday. I think the weather's supposed to be amazing, so make sure you get out there and do some fun activities. All right, bye guys.